Hey people, the run testers are on the ground at the London Winter Run 10K, where I'm going to be running entirely on field today, but giving it full beans to see where I'm at en route to the Manchester Marathon in April. Got Nelson's column behind me there. Now I'm also lucky enough to be lacing up some exciting new shoes to test for you. I've got the brand new HOKA Mach 6 on my feet. They are fresh out the box this morning. Now they might not be your first choice for a kind of balls out 10K race, but the Mach 5 were a pretty nippy shoe, and it's going to be very interesting to find out how these hold up when I'm pushing the pace. So while I head off down to the start, here's some details that I recorded earlier about what's new with the HOKA Mach 6. Let's have a look. Some quick details on the new Mach 6 then, and the stack height comes in the same as the Mach 5 with 37 mils in the hill, 32 mils in the forefoot in the men's. That's 35, 30 in the women's for a 5 mil drop on both. Weight wise, it comes in 8.1 ounces or 230 grams in my UK men's 8.5 test shoe. That's a shade lighter than the Mach 5. On price, they are $140 in the US and £140 in the UK. Now then, a really rapid look at the key design bits, and the big news here is the fact that the midsole has been swapped. It swaps ProFly Plus foam for a single layer of supercritical EVA that HOKA says is there to create a more responsive ride. Up top, you've got Creole Jacquard mesh uppers, you've got medium padded heel collars, you've got a nice wrapping gusseted tongues here, and flip them over, and they've also added some strategic rubber outsole. That replaces the exposed EVA that you had on the last gen, some people complain about in terms of durability. So that should make that much more long lasting and protected, that kind of midsole rubber, and provide extra grip as well. So a quick word on the London Winter Run 10K then. I think it had around 27,000 runners or something. So it's a busy old central London plod that starts on Trafalgar Square and then takes in some of London's top sites heading out east. And then via quite a twisty turny route loops you back to finish on Whitehall, right outside the Prime Minister's house, number 10 Downing Street. Well, okay, not right outside, but you know, it's close enough. It's on Whitehall, and Rishi Sunak can probably hear all the crowds cheering as they come home. Now, I'm busy training for the Manchester Marathon in April with Adidas, so this was a sort of staging post for me on the way, a good chance to see where I'm at from my training. I've not raced a 10K since about 2018, where I set my PB of 37.48. As I've been doing recently, I decided to run this one entirely on feel. I wore 2 watches, I covered them both, and I find running this way gets you the time you deserve, not the one you think you deserve. So I set the pace by how I feel. I think it's a really nice way to make sure that you don't blow it. You're not chasing a pace that you think you can hit. You're just getting what your body's going to give you on the day. Now, this is a busy race, and the first mile was very, very hectic. It required a lot of weaving. That wasn't great, but it's a nicely flat kind of route overall with 1 mile sort of gentle downhill to the finish. It was very welcome. It is twisty and turny, so maybe not a natural PB course, but there's great energy about this. There's good crowds. It's a bit like the London Landmarks half, follows some of the same route, and it has some of those London Marathon vibes from sort of crowds out on the streets and all of that. So I liked it overall. Happy race. It's well organised in the main, aside from the fact they let 3 waves mingle at the start, which didn't help for that sort of hectic overall feel. But I think if you're looking for a fun 10K full of support and crowds, beginners to racers, then this one is a good one to have a look at. Now, I ran well out there in the HOKA Mach 6. I ended up clocking 37.46, which if you were listening a moment ago, you'll realise that that is a 2-second PB. Counts, right? I think it counts. Anyway, I ran negative splits, so I was very happy with that. I've got lots of work still to do, but this all bodes well for the Manchester Marathon. By the way, drop me a comment if you're racing Manchester. Maybe we'll get to say hello up there. Anyway, enough about the race and how I got on. I know you're all here to find out how the Mach 6 performed, so we're on to that next. So when it came to the fit of the shoes, I ran in the UK 8.5, which is my regular running shoe size for HOKAs. First thing I would say is when you first put these on, like a lot of HOKAs, they feel quite narrow, quite snug, quite tight in the sort of toe box. That did loosen off at the end of the race. They feel much better now, so that's my first run in them. They were fresh out of the box this morning. Initially I thought maybe I would sort of question whether or not I'd go half a size up in them. Now they kind of feel okay. I think if you want a bit roomy, you might want to have a look at the wide fit. Or if you like it a bit roomy, I would consider going half a size up. If you're thinking of using them for longer distances, more time on feet, more hours, then I would definitely look at maybe going half a size up. But they've got a nice dialed in race feel for that 10K I've just done. But yeah, so I might stick true to size, but if you want a bit more room, go half a size up. the winter 10k done, just done that in the Mach 6. I'm not sure what my time is, I ran it all on feel, but these shoes, they felt great for that kind of distance. They're obviously not as lively as you'll get from a carbon racer, so they probably wouldn't be your ideal sort of 10k race shoe, but these can handle speed work, tempo work. I've just run probably, I don't know, it's going to be sort of 6 or faster minute miles, which is, you know, that's a good sort of good speed work for me out there. And I mean, that's pretty much all out for me 10k pace at the moment. They held up really well. There's really good ground contact. You can feel that rocker working nicely. Good protection on the road, not too much harshness coming up through, though they are a little bit more direct like the old Mach 5s felt, but I think the rockers really helped. And as I always say in these videos, what I like is a shoe that feels nice and precise with your foot landings. A lot of twisty turny bits out there on this course, and those shoes handled all the corners really well. The grip was good, and you kind of had a nice reliable foot landing and then roll through and toe off. They've got a really good bit of toe spring going on there. There's a good bit of stiffness, and they've done a good job out there. Be interested to do some more testing in them, but yeah, as ever, I'm off back to get my head together, and I'll do a wrap when I get back to the office. So I've just met Jazz at the end. How did you get on, Jazz?
39.57, I think.
Went in the Vaporfly 3 today. How did they go?
They were good. I mean, first time I'm wearing these ones. I've already got a pair. I'll be honest, I think I prefer the Vaporfly 2s, but these are still really, really good. But hey, you know, they got me a PB, so what can I say?
So then, a quick word now I'm back home and I've regained my composure. Now, I was a bit dubious about racing in the Mach 6. It's probably not a shoe that you choose to go and do, you know, an all-out, blast-out race 10k. But it performed really well, and I'd definitely be happy using this for my up-tempo training ones where I've got to push those faster paces. Now, my legs didn't feel battered the day after. Yes, I was tired, but they weren't that kind of rinse that you can have if you've got shoes that are quite harsh. Now, I'd say the Mach 6 builds nicely on the Mach 5, but it adds a bit more energy from that midsole. I'm dead keen to do a side-by-side of this and the Mach X to see how they compare, because I feel they're now even closer on that performance than they were before. Now, if you're a regular watcher of the channel, you'll know I like a firmer rocker ride, but with some protection and some punch in the midsole, and I think that's what you're getting here from the HOKA Mach 6. This is an energetic shoe, nicely responsive, and based on first run impressions, I think a lot of people are going to like doing some of the faster training in it. But as ever, there will be more testing to follow, and we'll reserve full judgment until we do the full review. So there you have it. That has been my first run race test of the new HOKA Mach 6. Hope you found it informative and helpful. Don't forget to like, share, maybe even subscribe if you enjoyed it that much. Ring the bell too, so you'll hear when our Mach 6 review and all those important head-to-heads hit the channel. That's the way that you find out, by ringing the bell. If you're interested in daily trainers, I'm popping up a video now that looks at one of my other favourites right now. Otherwise, thanks for watching. We hope to see you again soon on the Run Testers. And in the meantime, happy running, people.